Hello, and welcome to the Cosmic Alignment Lab podcast. This is the first episode which we are recording live. And I'm Ishita, founder of The Cosmic Touch, which is a community of creative change makers like generalists, neurodivergent folks, HSPs, and we're looking to align our professional and personal lives with our soul purpose and create massive impact in the world. And today we have Deja White, founder of Breakroom Buddha and the Career Co-Pilot. She is a career strategist, and her ultimate goal is to help people align their passion, purpose with profession. So today, Deja and I are going to dive into a conversation about all things cosmic careers. And Deja was also a wonderful, wonderful panelist for our butterfly showcase during the butterfly course cohort 1. And she gave some fabulous feedback to all of the course participants for their offers and their next career moves. So we're super excited to have her here, and let's get started. So Deja, we would love to know what your journey for deconditioning and following your life path has been. So tell us everything.
Yeah. So I like to start off and say that I grew up with a good support system. Um, my parents, they were or they still are educators, and they both came from like untraditional backgrounds. Like their parents weren't super corporate-y or anything. Like they were blue collar workers. Um, so like I came from a humble beginnings, I guess. Like we weren't super rich, super fancy, none of it. So a lot of the things that I've seen and as I've explored, it was a lot of trial and error with parents that supported me through it. At one point, I wanted to be a director, so my mom would help me find like acting classes so that I can like at least understand like theater or film in a better way so that I could become a director, because I said I wanted to be a director. And I would just take cues from different things that I saw. So like when I was watching DVDs, I would love to watch the behind the scenes. Later on in life, I found out that there's a whole job for people to just capture behind the scenes content. So maybe I didn't want to be a director. Maybe I wanted to be a behind the scenes person, but I didn't know that existed. So like I'm grateful that I had parents that like when I said something, they tried their best with the resources that they had, to put me in places where I could at least experience the things that I said that I wanted to do.
Beautiful.
So I feel like early on, I was never really conditioned to follow the path of everybody else because my parents didn't come from a particular background. That would usher me towards like traditional corporate. So I didn't know what traditional corporate was, or like that people stayed at companies for decades, or what corporate politics were. Like I didn't know any of these things. I had to learn those things, and then unlearn those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I kept going along that path. So like even in high school is when I really started trying to do professional things. Like I interned at a law firm, I interned with a producer. Like I just started interning in high school to get a better sense for what I wanted. And then once I reached college, I thought I had a clearer view of what I wanted to do. And then I just kept along that path. Like while in college, I kept along the path of wanting to work in media, wanting to work in entertainment. I wanted to move to LA. It never seemed to work. Like something always stopped me from moving to LA. I eventually made it to California, but I was in San Francisco when I graduated college, and That was my first corporate big girl job when I graduated. So I interned for Uber, um, and that was my first taste of corporate. And working at a tech company and working in traditional corporate are two different things. So I always say that it was a blessing and a curse because what I saw when I was at Uber, I got a lot of freedom. Like
Yeah.
we had food on site. My supervisor was super chill. Like he was like, "You have PTO as an intern. Take your time." And I'm like, "What is PTO? I want to make sure I experience everything." So I never took a time. I never took days off. Never, ever, ever. And I should have. And then what else? They gave interns like insurance. So I got like new glasses while I was there. It was just a different experience, and it was my very first experience in a corporate environment. So I say that it was a blessing because it opened my eyes to what was possible. But it was also a curse because as I was going on in my career, I was like, wait, every work environment is not like this. I don't get food all the time. I don't
Yeah.
get to at during that time I got to um, pick and choose what I wanted to do. I was the first intern on that particular team. And then I was in the very first class of creative Uber interns. So like the experience was brand new. I helped shape it. So yeah, so moving forward through my career, I started being attracted to teams where I was the very first to help shape something, and then environments that were very laid back. So that is sort of how my journey. I don't even know if I've answered your question, but that is. I feel like very early on, I was never really conditioned because I was always in environments that were laid back. I was always experimenting. I didn't have a background where my parents were corporate, so like I never really got conditioned. And then the things that I got conditioned on were like office politics and um like all the little things that you have to do to be noticed in an office and like fighting for salaries and just like the typical things that everybody goes through. Like figuring out how to read rooms and things like that. That stuff drained the crap out of me. I'm like, I got hired to do a job. If I'm doing a good job, promote me and give me more money and don't just give me a bunch of more work without more money and more pay. And like I shouldn't have to always like be showing up and doing things that are basically like not on task in order to get what I need. I don't know. It was just things like that that I had to stop, like eventually doing, like stop searching for validation, all the
Yeah.
things, because that leads to burnout. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, but yes, I got conditioned in that sense, but I slowly rolled it back. So now I'm like, if I'm creating more from places of curiosity. So I'm going back to my roots almost in the corporate world. Like I'm
Beautiful.
seeking out like startups that I work with now. So trying to avoid or am successfully avoiding large corporations, because it's so easy to get bogged down with like unnecessary work and like the office
Yeah.
politics, in my opinion. I loved my experience being in large organizations, but I truly love smaller teams, startups preferably, because I like being one of the first people to help shape a vision,
Yeah.
and shape how the work is done. And honestly, throughout my entire career, I've always been on teams where I was like one of the first. So that was helpful experience, and I'm just gonna keep it going. And
Nice.
then
Yeah.
what else?
Well, I
Yeah.
love how you mentioned your experience as an experiment and
Yes.
coming at it from a space of curiosity because
Yes.
that is very much why we've called this the Cosmic Alignment Lab. You know, it's a lab where we experiment, we try, we fail, we succeed, but ultimately our goal is to learn and grow and become a better version of ourselves than we were before whatever it is that we tried, you
Yeah.
know, and like become a more holistic human being. Um, And I love that you mentioned curiosity and leading from a space of curiosity in your career, because that is also one of the guiding values of the Cosmic Touch, right? Like keeping an open mind, an open heart, and always asking questions and coming from that space of abundance of opportunities rather than feeling bogged down of, oh, I need to do this or that, or scarcity mindset kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. And
Yeah.
tell me more. Tell us about how you transitioned from like roles in organizations to actually building out your own brand.
Yeah. So I got really antsy at one point early in my career. Um, I've always been a creative person. And when I graduated and started working, I was like, wait, I'm not really being creative anymore. A lot of the work I was doing was very operations heavy. Operations is great. You get to be strategic. You have to communicate with large amounts of teams and people to make things run smoothly. But I was like, I am not being creative. Like, I'm not making flyers anymore. I'm not making T-shirt designs.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing creative things. And I felt like I was losing my creativity. So I was like, I need to make something. I didn't know what it was. But I also at the same time started getting really into LinkedIn. So people started messaging me and asking me questions like, how were you able to like graduate and then like immediately get a job? I was only unemployed for like a month after graduating college.
That's
And ever
huge.
since then, I've always had a job. So yeah, so people would ask me like, how do you keep getting jobs? Like, how do I get a job after college? I'm young in my career. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm also young in my career, but I guess I know what to do because I got a job. So I was like, okay, that's what it is. Like people kept asking me the same questions over and over again, and I kept answering them. And I was like, okay, I got to stop. I'm just going to create a landing place where people could get all of their post grad questions answered. So that's how Break Room Buddha started. And when I started, it was one big lab. Like I treated it like a lab.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote articles about like what to do with your resume. I started interviewing like campus recruiters and other young professionals to talk about their journeys. That was fun. Like I found like a random Netflix writer and interviewed her, and someone who worked at like Microsoft. Like I just was reaching out to random people, and I was like, oh, this is fun. I'm getting back to my journalism roots. I did a lot of journalism in high school and early into my college career before I shifted to film and TV, and then eventually marketing. But I'm like, I'm a journalist at heart, and I don't have to be at a specific organization to be a journalist. So Breaking
Exactly. Yeah.
Buddha, yeah, it eventually turned into like a journalism, like a publication basically for early career professionals. And I'll never take it down. So all the articles I've ever written, even from the very beginning, are still on the website. But now I
Wow.
moved more from young professionals to like mid-career professionals. It's evolving with me. So the things are changing. So like now I'm more in a space of like career discovery, self-discovery, purpose-driven work. So a lot of the things that I write about and talk about and even build, so like the tools that I'm building under the Break Room Buddha umbrella, it all revolves around getting to a place where you know yourself better so that you can better show up in your career and you're not struggling and suffering. So yeah, that's how I got started. It was
Beautiful.
selfish reasons. Like I wanted to be creative, but at the same time, I wanted my time back because people kept asking me the same questions. But I'm glad it turned into what it is now. And then it's still a great resource for people.
Love this story and love how it was a creative endeavor, which also is actually adding so much value to the lives of people. And we will definitely drop a link to your website on the description so other people can read your articles and all the wonderful tools that you have. Um, and I love that you mentioned again the quality of creativity, because that's another guiding value at the Cosmic Touch, and creating from a space of just wanting to create, I think that is where the magic happens. Like I personally believe that there's like this cosmic consciousness that kind of drives us towards certain ideas, certain visions, and the more we follow them, the more we start aligning with whatever our purpose, well, quote unquote, purpose might be, or whatever our path is. And it's kind of like allowing yourself to fall down the rabbit hole, which is why I moved here to Spain, which is why I started the Cosmic Touch, which is why I do my artwork the way that I do, like the one right here at the back. I don't know if people who are watching can see this. So I guess my next question, Deja, is what kind of tools have you created through the Break Room Buddha?
Yeah, so I'm all about like practical things, things that I can like use right this second. So a lot of the things I create are things that I wish I had or things that I need. One of the biggest tools that I have now is Career Copilot, and it's an AI career coaching platform. Career coaches cost a lot of money, thousands of dollars, but most people don't have thousands of dollars. So it's like an all-in-one platform that people are able to get their resume reviews, practice their interviews, look at like build out a career path and actually see what people are paying for particular roles and responsibilities. No need to like click off to Glassdoor because it also shows you how
Mm-hmm.
much you get paid. It has like a chat
Nice.
bot in there, so that people can ask direct questions as if they had a personal career coach. So it's just like one big platform that you need and that you could use throughout your career, not just if you're looking for a job. That was really important for me to build because your career is always evolving. Even if you have a job right
Mm-hmm.
now, you can use it because you can see where your career could go. You can always be
Exactly.
practicing your interviewing skills. So that was really important to me. I wanted something where people could go. Once again, being selfish, because people reach out and ask me questions. Like every feature in there was developed based on a question someone asked me. So someone reached out and they said, "Oh, I submitted my resume for a role," and someone said I was overqualified. So I put something in there where people could upload their resume, get it reviewed, and it would tell them if they were qualified, underqualified, or overqualified for a
Oh.
particular role. So I was like, yes, every single question that someone has for me,
Mm-hmm.
I put it in there. Like I work with my sister a lot. Like I'm like her personal career coach, even if she doesn't want to call me that. And like we were talking through like where she could go in her career. So even based on that conversation, she helped me shape the way my career pathing tool works. So like you start in one role, and then it will tell you like possible directions that you can go into after that. So
Brilliant.
yeah, my tool was built with intention because of the conversations I've had with people.
Yeah.
But even before that, I'll build like journals. I have a journal that I built um, after experiencing a really rough work environment. And it's an affirmation journal where you every couple of weeks, it gives you a new affirmation. So it's meant to use throughout a year. So 2 weeks, every 2 weeks is a new affirmation, and I put in activities that people could do that stretches over 2 weeks. So it's like a affirmation page where you read the affirmation, you write the affirmation. There's a crossword puzzle with words related to the affirmation. There's a
Nice.
coloring page with word that represents the affirmation. So the idea is that, and there's also like a journaling prompt related to the affirmation. So the idea is like you will get it in your mind, like when you are in like toxic work environments or rough work environments, it really does a number on your mind. So I'm
Oh
like,
yeah. And
you
energy.
need, yes, it's really bad. It's bad
Mm-hmm.
energy. So I'm like, you need some reinforcement, some things that
Yeah.
you're like constantly reading and working on. so that the bad things that you're experiencing doesn't overtake like your positive energy. So yeah, I created that affirmation journal. Um, Other little things that I've created, like I have a bunch of quizzes on my website. So like, what kind of
Mm.
marketer are you? What kind of like, I call it a corporate rebel. What kind of corporate rebel are you? So like how
Oh,
you
I
show
like
up in the
that.
workplace. Yeah, because I think everyone's a rebel. They just don't know. So like
Mhm.
there are things like you're a quiet rebel, or and the quiet rebels are like the more strategic people. So like
Mm.
just fun stuff. I'm like, how can I bring work can be so boring, and I'm like, how
Mhm.
can I bring a bit of play into like careers, because we spend so much time at work and on our careers, and everybody is lost. Like we just get thrown out there. There's no like course or school
Yeah.
specifically for careers. So everyone's lost. We're all on the same playing field. We're all lost. And when you talk to most people, they say, "Oh, I just fell into this work," and I'm like, "No, like why can't we work on purpose?" So like all the
Yeah.
things that I create, it's all about career discovery and self discovery so that you can do things on purpose and you can plan and plot for the things that you want, not randomly get handed something.
Mhm.
And I learned that at the very beginning of my career. I didn't make clear what I wanted to do. So, like, every time I got promoted, it was in something that I didn't want. And then when my supervisors came to me and they're like, "Hey, we have this role open," and I read it and I was like, "This does not sound fun. I don't want to be spending my days doing this." And that's when I got really, really serious about like designing my
Mhm.
career and like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I want to help everyone do this. Like, we can all have what we
Mhm.
want.
Oof. I love this, Deja. Like,
Yeah.
just your energy when you speak about your tools shows how much love and care that you put into
Yes.
them, you know? And yeah, like, especially the part where you listened to the people and you built for them, not really as something from the outside in, but from the inside out. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's wonderful. And I have personally used the Career Copilot, and I think it is bomb. Like,
Oh, thank
it
you.
really, really added a lot of value to my life and showed me a lot of interesting perspectives on my career that I hadn't thought about as yet. And that is why it is also part of the Butterfly Conscious Creator course. So Deja has very, very kindly given us permission to use her AI, and she also gives, I think it was 2 months of free LinkedIn Premium for whoever uses her AI and gives feedback for it. So thank you, Deja, for adding value to the Butterfly course as well.
Mm-hmm.
And my next question, just following that train of thought, is what has been your experience on the butterfly course as someone who's been mentoring and giving feedback to the participants, as well as providing this really cool product to everyone on there?
Yeah. It's been a great experience. Like I love giving people feedback because I feel like earlier in my career I had great mentors, but I feel like they danced around certain things and I'm like, "No, I don't dance around the things that I need to be a better professional and to get to where I want to be."
Mm-hmm.
So I try not to dance around things. I'm like, if based on my experiences, if I can share something with you that will help you get to where you need to be faster, then I'll do it. So that is how I have mentored and I've given feedback. And then the tool is open for everyone to use. So I'm hopeful that the tool within your cohort has helped the participants better understand their industries, better understand themselves. Even if they are entrepreneurs, you can still get a lay of the land and see what's out there, and what people might pay for your work, and how to show up based on even if you're not like interviewing for a particular role, You can put in the industry that you're interested in, and it'll give you questions that clients might even ask you if you're pitching them. So yeah, I hope that it's been helpful in that way so that they're prepared whether they're stepping into a new work environment or they're seeking clients.
Yeah, I think it's been super, super useful because we treat our entire career journey as an experiment in the butterfly. So it's like a 5 week like boot camp where we have live sessions with Reiki, with energy healing, along with design thinking and agile lessons and homeworks so that we can really get on top of the things that we want to achieve in our lives. Um, Firstly, personally, by knowing ourselves, and then professionally, by applying those talents and gifts that come naturally to us in our professional and career lives. And what I found was that Deja's tool really helped like streamline things for the participants and also for myself, because our journeys are not linear, and I don't think they need to be linear anymore, right? Like, we want to have careers which expand us, excite us, and tap on that creative energy and that curiosity, right? So, really, like, this is a space for everyone to just kind of come in, experiment, and leave as a better version of their professional selves by having a deeper understanding of who they are and what they have to offer. And our next cohort is actually starting on the 12th of June. And Deja will be involved in some way or the other. We're still talking details, but yeah, if you're interested, I will drop a link in the description and let's get on it. Awesome. So,
Perfect.
Deja, before we end, I have one last question for you. What is your spirit animal and
Ooh.
why?
Yeah, I haven't thought about this in a while, but the last time I did, I was a part of like a professional development cohort and we settled on a butterfly.
No way.
Yeah, it was a butterfly. And I have a quiz on my, or I have the link to a quiz on my website. And I think the last time I took it, I still got butterfly, but I was like, that fits. Like I like talking. I like being curious. I often go through many stages of development. So I'm like, oh, this like tracks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just leave it at a butterfly. I think I'm still a butterfly. I have a bubbly personality. I'm always bopping around, and I go through periods of like self discovery and growth. So that's why I'll say that I'm a butterfly. I'll land on that.
Oof, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Deja, for joining us today in this
Yes,
conversation
of
and
course.
sharing your bubbly butterfly personality with us.
Yeah.
Um, we will come back to you with our next episode soon, but we're tuning out from the Cosmic Alignment Lab from episode 1, which was Cosmic Careers with Deja. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and hear you soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.